11.3 Simplifying rational expressions. A rational expression is an algebraic expression whose numerator and denominator are polynomials. The excluded value of a rational expression is the value of the variable that will make the denominator equal to 0. So in these problems, we need to state the excluded value for each rational expression. And so how do we do that? Well, let's take this first one, 5x over x squared minus 81. Well, the excluded value is the value for the variable x that will make the denominator equal to 0. And let's go ahead and set the denominator equal to 0 and solve for x. Right? So we're going to isolate the variable by adding 81 to both sides of the equal sign. And we'll get x squared is equal to 81. Then we'll square both sides, or square root both sides. On the left side, we have x square root of x times x, so the x can come out. And on the right side, we have the square root of 9 times 9, so the 9 can come out. But you need to remember that when we solve for a variable squared by adding a square root to the equation, that the answer is plus or minus 9. Okay. So it's going to be x is equal to plus or minus 9. And so what are the excluded values? So I'm going to say the excluded values are x is equal to plus or minus 9. Now we're looking at the second problem. It's 3a minus 2 over a squared plus 6a plus 8. And it's going to be the same technique, but a little bit of a different strategy. We're going to take the denominator and we're going to set it equal to 0. Now, we've learned how to solve for the variable in a quadratic equation. Right? And that's what this is. We have variables squared. So we have a quadratic equation, and we know how to solve for the variable if it's equal to 0, if the equation is equal to 0. How do we do it? It's a, b, c. So a is 1, b is 6, and c is 8. So we do our cross, or our diamond, whatever it is you want to call it. And we do a times c at the top, so that's going to be 8. We do b at the bottom, that's 6. Needs to two factors that multiply to 8 and add to 6. So how do we find the factors? Well, we'll start with 1. So it's 8 times 1 is a factor of 8. Multiply to 8, but they don't add to 6. So we'll do 2 times 4, and those do add up to 6. So our factors are 2 and 4. So what can we do with those factors? Well, we can rewrite our equation as a plus 2 and a plus 4 equals 0. Right. Now we're going to solve for the variable by setting each factor equal to 0. We'll set a plus 2 equal to 0. We'll set a plus 4 equal to 0. And solve for a. So we'll subtract 2 from both sides, and we'll get a is equal to negative 2. We'll subtract 4 from both sides, and we'll get a is equal to negative 4. So what does that mean? That means if a is equal to negative 2, then the denominator here is going to equal to 0. And if we set a to negative 4, then this denominator here is also going to equal to 0. And that's what the excluded values are. They are the values for the variable that make the denominator equal to 0. Right? So in this case, our excluded values are a is equal to negative 4 and negative 2.